Today's episode is going to be a very short one. There's been some changes of plans due to the fact that I did not complete what I was going to do. However, what I'm going to review today is ChocoPro 239 that features 3 matches, plus we have people in attendance. We also got the NWA USA, and we cannot forget New Japan Strong with Philadelphia Collision, where we see, of course, the Strong Openweight Championship on the line, of course, with a stipulation. If Raw Roster does not win the match, he is forced to leave New Japan Strong for good. But will he become the new Strong Openweight Champion? We'll find out. And of course, we got a couple of news updates that I want to share with the rest of everyone here watching. So, let's get ready with another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, Wrestle Champions and Championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, today is, of course, June 25th. As you know, we're getting close to the Forbidden Door. But right now, let's just go what we have for today. Let's open up with ChocoPro 239. As I mentioned, we have people. Now, this is a very experimental show that we normally see. As you know, when ChocoPro first started, there was no audience. But I have to say, this is a very unique situation. However, of course, Emi Sakura and Balinaki opened up the show. Our first match, we have Dragon Ninja, Sayuri and Shonshiru taking on the Egg Tarts, Chiko Shikawa and Hagane Shonen. Now, I always say that I do observe how many of the Yoshi wrestlers have evolved, how they've grown up, how they have improved their wrestling craft. Well, in this particular match, you see Sayuri as one of those wrestlers that have improved. Now, she has had success as a tag team competitor, but as singles, not so much. But however, she is finding success as a tag team competitor with Shonshiru. Now, however, she has to deal in contempt with um, the Egg Tarts, most likely Chiko Shikawa. As you know, she is known as Full Energy, but that match was amazing. I have to say, it was pretty good, but however, it was Hagane who put her in a submission move, basically forcing her to tap out. I have to say, Sayuri made a pretty good impression, but she was unsuccessful to win the match. But we know she could pull it off with the right timing. Now, our next match, we have Ken Oka and Masahiro Takanashi taking on the Best Bros. Now, if you guys ever seen Ken Oka on Gambari Pro, he always has that theme song, Bad Communications, where of course is that whoa, 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 Bad Communications. Mei Shuga decided to have a little fun with it. She goes, whoa, 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 I'm Big Apple. I thought that was the biggest punchline ever, and even Balinaki couldn't believe it, what he just saw or heard. But I thought it was pretty good. However, the match itself, it was so intensifying in every aspect. Now, as a fan of the Best Bros, they have a unique dynamic working together in every possible way. Now, Masa has worked with many tactic partners over the years, so does Ken Oka. But however, there was uneven matches. However, in this particular match, it ended with a time limit draw, which I know many fans don't like that, but that's how it ended. Now, our next match, we have Sayaka versus Emi Sakura. Now, keep in mind, Sayaka was trained under Emi Sakura, and since she is one of the fourth generation girls. Now, she did join the promotion with it as one of the trainees, back in 2018 or 2019, one of the two. How basically I have observed, much like Sayuri, who's also fourth generation, how much she has grown. I've seen Sayaka has grown so well. I mean, she's always cheerful, but however, when it comes to being in the match, that's a different story. And I think I enjoyed how much she has grown up. But I did not anticipate a whole lot with this one because I have to say, Sayuri really made a good impression in every way possible. But however, you cannot defeat the master, most likely your Royal Highness the Queen, Emi Sakura, when she defeated her with the Queen's Gambit. So I have to say Sayaka really did a pretty good job. Now as for our Junkin tournament, I can tell you the best bros didn't made it all the way through. Neither did Dragon Ninja, Ken Oka, or Masa, but however, it was Koshikawa who pulled it off. She's always somehow finds ways to win, and you know how she brags about how she always wins. So basically, she won this particular match. So she won the Jonkin tournament, and as for our next, Choco Pro event, the 240, we will see what takes place. So right now, let's move on with NWA USA. Okay, NWSA USA. It opened up with a very interesting match. We have this guy named Thrillbilly Silas being accompanied by Pollo Del Mar. If you guys are fans of GCW, you guys know who she is. Basically, no one expected that, neither I. But his opponent, is a rather someone with a chip on his shoulder. We're talking about Luke Hawx. Now, as you know, Luke Hawx is taking his frustrations out on anybody that stands his way due to what happened and Always Ready. As you know, Luke Hawx came out to help his son and Homicide when the fixers attacked them both at the end of their match in Always Ready. However, he believed that Homicide did not do anything to attend his son, see how he was doing. So basically, that's what it is. Now you can say that Thrillbilly will have his work cut out. I mean, he did hold his own as much as possible, but his only mistake was being distracted by Pollo Del Mar, allowing for Luke Hawx to win the match. But the real question does remain when we will see Luke Hawx get his chance to get his hands on, of course, Homicide. Now, our next thing we're going to talk about is our two interviews conducted by both May Valentine. The first one is by Chris Silvio as the attorney of Jack Stain. Now, Silvio believes that Eric Jackson, this guy that got in the face of Jack Stain, had no right to do that, so he was determined to sue him. Now, keep in mind, Jack Stain doesn't want to defend the title in no way necessary because he doesn't want to put it at all, despite if the NWA officials tell him he has to, even though he is the champion for NWA USA, because that title revolves on NWA USA. But that match did happen. Now, our second interview, we have a rather unusual that could explode of division. Now, as you know, Austin Idol is the guy who runs Austin Automania Sports Entertainment. As you know, he made Black Cheese as a junior partner. However, I think this is where we could see a possible, how to say, division. Now, Black Cheese did had a plan to partner up with Idol, but the problem was Black Cheese saying that he has no boss. But Idol felt like you do have a boss. So basically, it's more like, okay, does he need to be treated this? Now, this could be the sign where it could fall apart. We could see, but as you know, Tyrus has always been loyal to Idol because of him, and Sion would side with them. But that's something that I can speculate, but we'll see what that happens. Now, our main event is for the national championship between Eric Jackson and champion Jack Zane. Now, Jack Zane, as you know, he is a tough SOB. He would do everything in his power to retain the title. Now, he decided to toy around with Eric Jackson until he finally defeated him. And I think it shows that that Jack Stain will do anything in his power to keep that title where it is, does not want to face anybody, even if that pencil geek Silvio says that he has to go through the law. But we'll find out what happens then. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on with our last review, New Japan Strong. Okay, New Japan Strong, as you know, opened up with Danny Limelight versus David Finlay. Now, before the start of the match, Danny Limelight had the audacity to disrespect David Finlay. Now, Danny Limelight thinks he's a total badass, that he thinks that he will beat his ass, telling him, I'm gonna smack that face off of you, you little piece of punk. But it did not go well. As you know, there's a saying, never pissed off an Irishman. For real. The Irishmans, they don't like being pissed off. But however, when it comes to David Finlay, we know what he has in his possession. The shillelagh that belonged to his dad. That's the one thing you don't want. But David Finlay, as you know, he is tough as nails, and he was able to pick up an amazing victory against him. But however, he tried to shake hands with Limelight, but Limelight did not like that. He spit in his face, but he got his face whacked by the shillelagh for good measures. Now, as you know, the United Empire made their presence for a while now with New Japan Strong. They claim they are now the true owners of course of New Japan Strong. As you know, for almost over a year, Team Filthy has taken over. But however, now that this happened, I wouldn't be surprised that somewhere down the line that Will Ospreay will get his hands on the Strong Openweight title. But we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, we have Tony Deppen versus Minoru Suzuki. You know this match is awesome. You know it's going to be balls to the walls. And not to mention, Brother Grandpa is going to kill you. That's how it works. So, you probably can guess Tony Deppen, as you know, he's one of the biggest a-holes in the planet. But when it comes to Minoru Suzuki, do not even piss him off or antagonize him or try. But if you can hit him hard, you know he's in it for the fun. That's what I like about Minoru Suzuki. He's in it for the fun. But however, Tony Deppen did not have fun because he got the Gotch style pie driver. 1, 2, 3. Good night, Deppen. So yeah. Now, our main event is, of course, the Strong Openweight title between Fred Rosser and Tom Filthy Lawler. Now, Lawler had enough of Rosser getting in the way. Rosser had already lost to him once. Now, Lawler doesn't need to be in that same position ever again. Keep in mind, it was Rosser who picked up the first pinfall against him. But Lawler told him that you're a pain in my ass, so I want you gone for good. So this is set up the stipulation. He would make him bleed. However, as you know, F and Team Lawler showed up. You see the West Coast Wrecking Crew and Team Filthy. Now, he took Rosser to the back to ensure, and he put Team Filthy to block him. But luckily, Finlay, Alex Coughlin, I forgot who else was there, gave Rosser the helping hand, ruining the plans of Filthy. He wanted Rosser out for good. Now, no matter what Lawler tried to do, it did not work. He tried everything, even to get rid of him, choking him, and like using the chokehold. Did not work. But what I did like is how, in the end, Rosser innovated. He used the chick wing, but instead, he put him down on the ground on his stomach. He tied his legs. Like, if you've seen the snare trap the Jungle Boy does, think about that in a chicken wing setting. That was so devious that forced Lawler to tap out. So I thought that was a great way. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes that as a permanent finisher, in my opinion. But however, as the new Strong Openweight champion, he even thanked the fans, he thanked his family, he even talked about how WWE said no 40 times to him, AEW twice. But I have to say, Rosser has proven he is a guy who should be in a wrestling ring. And I think I can't wait to see what else he's going to do for New Japan Strong. But what does this mean for Lawler? Well, we know he will be at the G1 Climax real soon. I'm sure that they can't have him being there while they need a champion while back in the States. So I think that's probably the honest opinion that's going to happen. But we'll see what happens then. So right now, let's move on to our last thing that we're going to do is, in fact, some news updates. Okay, as speaking of Forbidden Door, we has been talking about injuries that have been occurring recently. Jungle Boy has now been reported by the Wrestling Observer that he has a shoulder injury. Now, it's still unclear whether he obtained it during the ladder match that he had on June 15th. That is still unclear on that. Dave Meltzer's not 100% sure yet, but he will be out of action for quite some time. We don't know when. There's no time frame, but so basically he'll be out. Now, regarding of the Forbidden Door as you know it, Hiromu Takahashi will not be able to compete at the Forbidden Door. Reasons is that he had a fever and he cannot travel at any moment. We know he was scheduled to team up with Sting and Darby Allin along with his LIJ teammate Shingo Takagi to take on the Bucks and members of the Bullet Club, Phantasmo and Hikuleo. So now it's been turned into a trios match. So I'm kind of curious how this is gonna be. Now, for our last update, if you guys are big Ice Ribbon fans, or you follow it, or you watch many of the wrestling events, it's now been told. I saw this on Twitter. They have a brand new logo, and I have to say it's a pretty good one. It's a very interesting one. Not a like. I just wish they could have put something different with that had the ribbon or something. I don't know, but you be the judge of that. So I will post that right now. So right now, let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we got more of ChocoPro 240, and of course, we have the Forbidden Door. Now, I am determined to keep the Forbidden Door pay-per-view on its own. Basically, not to put anything else because I don't want to pressure myself in anything else. I want to mostly focus on that by itself, while I put, of course, Choco Pro with maybe some recent events from early this month or maybe last month. I'm not 100% sure just yet, but I will keep apprised to everyone what I'm going to do because right now I'm in uncharted waters at the moment because I've been dealing with things personally and things that been coming in my lap. But I'll surprise everyone. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.